why menopause happens and the hormone effects on brain versus tissue is so important to understand. So when we go into menopause, it's because the eggs in our ovaries start to run low in numbers. So over time, we are losing our eggs, and the eggs being created and released every month in our cycle are responsible for some of the hormones that are produced in the ovaries, such as estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So when we start to lose ovarian function because our egg supply is starting to run low, we start to lose estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, but less so testosterone, because testosterone and progesterone are also made in some amounts in the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands sit on top of your kidneys. And testosterone can also be made in the periphery and other tissues, such as the fat cells. And interestingly, some types of estrogen can also be made in fat cells as well. So the estrogen is the one that hits the hardest, because that's the primary source of estrogen is in the ovaries. Now, what's interesting to know is that the estrogen, once it's made by the ovaries significantly and by other tissues in smaller amounts, gets floating into the bloodstream, and then it goes to various tissues, including the brain. It goes to areas of the brain that are responsible for what we call cognition, particularly the higher level areas of the brain in the front, called prefrontal cortex, are very highly evolved areas of the brain that are responsible for things like memory, planning, and judgment. It also impacts hormones that are made that impact our mood. So whether or not you're feeling great or you're feeling low or anxious or depressed can be affected by estrogen. It also goes to the part of the brain that is responsible for temperature control, and that will be important to understand when we start talking about hot flashes and night sweats. It also affects the area of the brain that is involved in libido, or the desire for intimacy. So this is really interesting because it starts to give us insight as to why do we start experiencing some issues with symptoms like hot flashes, mood, insomnia, depression, irritability as we're going into that menopause transition.